The Acolyte Episode 7, the one with sitcom-level misunderstandings. I employed Friends naming convention since, like many Friends episodes, the plot relied on unbelievable failures of communication. The difference? In Friends, communication breakdowns led to absurd situations intended for laughter. In The Acolyte, communication breakdowns led to absurd situations that generated laughter, though clearly intended for tension and tragedy. Characters' actions and reactions were ridiculous, instead of reasonable, plausible, and relatable. With communication, cause and effect broke down. In other words, after witnessing D, no one would have jumped to conclusion F. To overcome challenge X, no one would have taken step Z. From the beginning, irrationality has supported plot convenience. For example, consider this sequence in the second episode. If they suspected intrusion, the Jedi would have secured the roof of their temple on Olega. Why wouldn't they suspect intrusion having seen an intruder? Right there. If the Jedi walked from point A to point B through the temple's corridors, they would have reached Torben before Osha. If she remained with them, Osha wouldn't have been standing next to Torben's body as the Jedi arrived. If Yord hadn't shadowed her, Osha would have been accused of murder. If she went straight to Khmer following Torben's death, the Jedi wouldn't have been able to set a trap for May. You get the point. In lieu of logical progression, bad writing drove the story. In Episode 7, nothing was worse than the lack of communication I mentioned moments ago. Characters never expressed themselves or asked questions. The Acolyte's writers ignored the sender-receiver dynamic. Senders regularly withheld and twisted information when they would have benefited from full disclosure. Receivers consistently misunderstood and ignored information that would have improved their decisions. The writers confused silence with mystery. But I concede, a Wookiee with a metal detector for the Force is hilarious. Indara led Saul, Kelnaka, and Torben in the search for a Vergence on Brendok. Torben groused about being away from Coruscant. Unexpectedly, Saul observed the twins' Force abilities and infiltrated their Coven's fortress. I thought scanners in ships and droids and sensors or markers could detect life forms, but the twins definitely surprised Saul. Mother Coral's scolding, Mother Anasea's training session, and May's report of ascension convinced him the twins were in danger. His desire mirrored the stranger's desire. Both wanted a Padawan. Mother Anasea manipulated Torben to act on his homesickness. Torben knelt in submission to have his wish come true. Years of training, but the Beta can't camp on a beautiful planet for 2 months without turning to the dark side. Weird. Mother Coral incited May and the other witches. Saul killed Mother Anasea as she disapparated, and tried to take May, who he mistook for Osha, with her. Did you notice multiple grown-ups with odd fixations on kids in this episode? Weird. Indara, the pro, ended the witch's possession of Kelnaka after Saul and Torben, the amateurs, failed to do so. Coral disappeared, still my leading Sith Master candidate. Given a difficult choice, Saul saved Osha instead of May. What did the writers want me to take away? Saul acted selfishly to possess Osha, and the Force wasn't strong with him. Torben couldn't resist temptation. Indara was wise and powerful. The Bunta Tree and the power of May facilitated the magical mystery tour, including respawn ability. Be prepared for it in the finale. May accidentally started the fire, so she was blameless. Coral, Saul, and Torben were responsible for the catastrophe. Arrogance and ignorance set the Jedi against the witches. Indara's advice to cover up the incident was well-intentioned. Mother Anasea's prophecy was profound. Stone burned like wood, and mining facilities didn't have fire-suppressing systems. What did I really take away? Indara was awesome at everything except training her Padawan. Saul and Torben were weak in body and spirit. Their selfish desires brought suffering and death for others. Grand Admiral Sean as my witness, I predicted Torben would bend the knee for Anasea. You may come to your own conclusions about that scene's purpose. Indara's cover-up advice made no sense in light of her dogmatic deference to the Council. If, at any time, characters communicated like adults, the sitcom-level misunderstandings would have collapsed along with the plot. Two groups, distrustful, encounter each other. On one side, the witches with knowledge of the Jedi. If the witches hadn't lied about the twins. If the witches asked questions about the Jedi mission to Brendok. If Mother Anastasia said, Brendok isn't part of the Republic and you, Jedi, may not test the twins. After testing, both twins are too old to become Jedi. If the witches question the actions of Indara's team, such as B and E, in light of the Jedi Code. If Mother Anastasia hadn't entered Torben's thoughts. If Mother Coral hadn't sealed the mining facility and attacked. If Mother Anastasia hadn't gone full Nightcrawler without warning. If the witches hadn't possessed Kelnaka. On the other side, the Jedi, who knew nothing about the witches. If the Jedi knocked instead of breaking in, told the truth about the twins, explained the mission to Brendok and asked questions about the planet, asked Mother Anastasia about her training program, or meditated to discern the will of the Force. If Indara successfully trained Torben, refrained from belittling Saul, and tried to stop Saul and Torben from leaving camp. If Torben explained Mother Anastasia's mental intrusion to his companions. If Indara used the ship to beat Saul and Torben to the mining facility. If Saul wasn't the only Jedi looking for the twins. I could go on and on, but again, you get the point. When rational decision-making is antithetical to your premise, you shouldn't have a $180 million budget to produce a Star Wars series. Despite a fairer depiction of the Jedi than anticipated, the writers plainly wanted moral ambiguity and a big reveal, but lacked sufficient skill to achieve them. Like Rian Johnson's Knives Out and Glass Onion, their take on mystery is just denial of information. Great mysteries sprinkle information in the form of clues to slowly evolve one's perception and spark critical thinking and discussion. In The Acolyte, rare clues led to obvious conclusions based on an overly simplistic narrative. The stranger's identity, for example. Nothing subtle, nothing
elusive.
Fool you once, shame on me. Fool you twice, shame on you. So, shame on you for expecting a big reveal from the series. The Acolyte is the worst on-screen iteration of Star Wars in history. Thank you for watching. What are your thoughts? Please like and subscribe. Check out Galactic Initiative for honest takes on Star Wars.
Galactic Initiative is not authorized or endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited. The name Star Wars and all related materials are registered trademarks of Lucasfilm Limited, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, all rights reserved. Galactic Initiative is a registered trademark, and other product and company names are trademarks of their respective holders. Use does not imply affiliation or endorsement.